Hey guys, I want to talk about Imagine JavaScript, Master the Fundamentals. I'm going to take you through an overview of what's in the course, what the approach to learning is, what the different sections are, and ultimately introduce you to this great sync JavaScript mental model, which is the mechanism that we use to explore and ultimately tie together different JavaScript concepts. If you are struggling with JavaScript, if you've been learning it for some time, you can't really piece it together, there's still so many unknown areas, it's usually because there are so many areas that you don't have confidence over. The ultimate aim of this course is to build a unified, cohesive picture of JavaScript. Imagine JavaScript is based on the Great Sync JavaScript mental model. Let's have a quick look at what that is. This is a representation of the model that I introduced right at the start of the course to say, this is what we're building towards. This isn't even all of it, this is just the skeleton of that model, but it gives you an idea of where this is going and what we're trying to achieve. If I just open the menu here and we have a look at what's inside of the course, so we go through engine and environment, flow and operations, loops, objects, functions, scope, closures, the this variable, I love this section, prototypal inheritance, the DOM, event loop, we literally visualize the entire event loop, promises, and then we have an introduction to building applications. Let's begin with what we might find under a model section. Every model will begin first with an investigation. We want to explore the concept. I provide different questions or prompts or things to think about with an interactive code editor where we can run the code. So this is for investigating async and await. If we have a look at another one, this is investigating the this variable. It's just to get you thinking and to identify some areas that maybe you're not so sure about. Many of the sections will paint some sort of picture. So here we have execution contexts and functions being invoked. This is the creation phase when an execution context gets created and we look at all the different parts of what comprises an execution context. And this is the DOM, the document object model. There's a whole bunch of these which really just help you step into and visualize this fantasy world that the Great Sync mental model is based on. The next step is to start looking at some code and working our way through it using this model. So for example, we look at a function execution, and in this function here, if we are declaring a variable and assigning it to the result of a function, what does that look like? What is actually going on here? And obviously the illustrations and the model will start getting more and more complex, and the code will start getting more and more complex. So here we're looking at how this variable behaves in arrow functions. We use a combination of text and code and pictures to help us explore the concept and make sure we understand it. It's not just basic JavaScript fundamentals that we focus on. We actually dive pretty deep into some things, like exactly how values get passed down a promise chain. It might be something that you know happens, but you don't know exactly how it happens. We literally step through the code, visualizing as we go along each step in the process. Learning about some examples isn't enough. We actually want to write some code or answer some questions about it using our mental model, this new way of thinking that we're practicing. So let me actually go into loops, and if we go into the peg section, we can see we have apply your loops mental model. So if I open that, similar to the investigation at the start where you just explore the concept, now we're answering questions using the model. We can also get an explanation for why it worked like that. There might also be an exercise where you have to write some code. For example, here we're practicing loops and there are a series of questions, and at the end of it, the solution for you to compare. So if I were to sum it up, this course is about visualizing the concept, using a different perspective to explore it, make sure we understand it, and then to connect it to other things that we have visualized and learnt about, and make sure that we're understanding JavaScript as a whole rather than separate concepts that are isolated and have no connection to each other. I hope that gives you an idea of what this course is about. There are a whole bunch of FAQs on the Imagine JavaScript page, as well as on the greatsync.com website.